Yo, 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 what up, Raider Nation? Welcome into another episode of the Raider Ragu Show. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Please get a like, share, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel, the Raider Ragu Network. Please, wherever you listen to the podcast on the audio only tip, Spotify, Apple, wherever it may be, go ahead and slap it on auto download for us so that just download automatically because that's what they count, man. We really appreciate it. And let's not forget our sponsor, shebangboutique.com, SHEE, bang, boutique.com. Go over there and get your girl something unique and fly, good looking. All right. Raider Nation. So the Raiders lost again. All right. They dropped to 2-13 on the season. It's game number 15. They've only won 2 of 15 games. This game specifically started off bad. Eugene threw a pick six.
Geno is intercepted. It's Derek Stingley on the return. Stingley with a touchdown. The Texans defense strikes again.
Derek Stingley Jr., the ball that he threw late and behind Ashton Jeanty. He should have either kept it or threw it towards the sideline where it would have led, Jeanty more out of bounds. And he got that 1 yard because it was on a 3rd and 1. Or it would have been incomplete or whatever. But, he decided to throw it. Stingley grabs it, takes it home. So 7-0 right out the gate. Geno, that was his 15th pick. Eugene, my bad. That was his 15th pick of the season. And last year he threw 15 picks. But last year he threw 15 picks all year. This year he's thrown 15 picks in 14 games. Yeah, because he missed a game. So he's actually got more picks than games played this year. So that's that. That's not good, Geno. No matter what, man. No, you can't really put that on the O-line or nothing. That's just not good quarterbacking. You can cut all of the excuses and all that. It's pretty much the same receivers, except you don't have Jacoby. And that's just it, man. You throw more picks than games you played in. That's not good. So this game, though, was different from the other losses that the Raiders have had, especially that loss last week in Philly, where they didn't even compete, seemingly. If the Raiders played like this every game of the season, no matter what the record, this is the team you could be proud of, effort-wise. You'd be like, oh, okay, we, a call here, a call there, a decision here, a decision there, or a play here, play there, and we would have won those games, right? And then that following season or whatever, you start winning some of them close games that you was losing. Next thing you know, you in the offs, you a serious contender for a Super Bowl, or at least to represent your conference in the conference championship game. You're a serious contender for that. Next thing you know, after you string some wins together, and then that next season, those one-score games that you was losing, you start to win some of those. Next thing you know, man, you 11-6, 12-5, headed to the offs. Win a couple games, you're in the championship game. So this effort, although it was in a loss and there's no moral victories, it was still a team that you could be proud of. They actually fought. It looked like a pro team against another pro team, and not, how it has been looking and how it has looked this year at certain times. You know what I'm talking about. So this game really turned on two plays, in my opinion. You got the pick six by Stingley.
Geno is intercepted. It's Derek Stingley on the return. Stingley with a touchdown.
That's 7 points. And then you got the overturned call on the fumble return touchdown by Stokes on the hit by E-Rob. So E-Rob hits the tight end. Looks like he took a step, made a football move. E-Rob hit him, dislodged the football. Stokes picked it up, ran it all the way in for the touchdown.
Stroud, quick pass, and it's dropped by Stover unless they call it a catch and a fumble, which they are right now. Stokes down the sideline, and he's going to go all the way for a touchdown.
And that's good officiating. Let it play out, and if it changes off a replay, that's okay. And I think they're right, because watch, catch, yes, I think that is a correct call. He does not get a chance to get the second foot, the football move, the third, everything that goes with it. That ball's out from Cade Stover beforehand on the hit by Landon Roberts.
I think that's always a topic of conversation. What's a catch? You talked about it. Possess the ball. First step, you got to get 2 feet down. And then the third step of all of it is you need to make a football move, whether that's tucking it, whether that's a stir.
They end up giving them the ball back. It looked very close to being catch and fumble, man. And it was bang, bang. The Raiders get that call, and Geno don't throw that pick. That's a 14-point switch, man. They only lost 23-21. So, they might not even get down there again. They might have held Houston to 10, 13, maybe 17 points. Was able to win this game. You see what I'm saying? So the game turned on those 2 plays, man. And then that got me to thinking. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Now, Jeanty did his thing.
Geno will run it with Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty takes a hard hit and is stopped at the 30. Figured the Texans will call timeout. They do.
Looking at what Houston has, brought him in to be able to help protect.
They do run it again with Jeanty. And Ashton Jeanty to the 39, a couple of yards shy of a first down. Back to Jeanty. And he sneaks through. Ashton Jeanty then caught from behind by Miles Bryant.
Done a great job with helping him convert and make him a playmaker from the nickel spot.
3rd and 6. Jeanty down the field. He's open. He's got it at the 30. Jeanty, stiff arm, stays on his feet. Touchdown! What a play by the rookie! Ashton Jeanty, a 60-yard touchdown. And we're tied at 13.
Part of Ashton Jeanty's game, his ability to catch it out of the backfield. Came into this weekend 7th among all running backs in the NFL. We need an answer. Momentum had switched on him. We need something now, and he gave it to him.
Jeanty to the 22-yard line. Jeanty trying to get downhill. And I wouldn't call that downhill, but he tripped over the pile to pick up the first down.
And now you're getting the best pass rush that you've had all game long.
Jeanty again. Trying to break it to the outside. He does. Ashton Jeanty still going. What a run. Jeanty, his 2nd touchdown today.
He bust on the run. Just an inside zone. Hit the hole. Kind of got lost in there. They couldn't bring him down. He popped that thing outside, stiffed somebody, and got somewhere. And then on the catch, he just flat out beat the guy off the line. I'm trying to cover him with a linebacker. Just gave him a kind of an inside move and then faded. It was a nice route, too. Great route for a running back. Ran right by him and then stiffied somebody for the touchdown. Broke another tackle downfield at full speed. You love to see that. That is nowhere near stop. So he did his thing. He had a fantastic game. He definitely showed why he's a top 10 pick, number 6 overall, to be specific. Shout out to AJ, Ashton Jeanty, man. You did your thing. Now people starting to talk about you in the league. I heard a couple of guys on their team was very impressed. Will Anderson being one of them, and had good things to say about you. And they think you're going to be a real good player. Like I think you're going to be a real good player. And don't look now, guys, but he's 172 yards away from running 4,000 in his rookie year. And he already has 10 touchdowns combined, 5 passing, 5 running. So although the rookie year ain't really what we thought it was going to look like, man, 86 yards this week and 86 yards in the last game, and he's at 1,000, and he's already scored 10 touchdowns. That's productive, man. He scored 10 touchdowns in the National Football League, bro. That's not easy. If you think it's easy, go look at how many dudes did it this year. Just go look how many guys got 10 tugs. So he's a baller. Much like Brock in his first year, he did stand out, was one of the lone bright spots of this season, and I'm glad we got him. Good guy, a piece to build around, along with Brock. Also, shout out to Jack Bech. Jack Bech looks like he's going to be a good addition to the squad, good addition to the receiving corps, catches the ball with his hands, makes tough contested catches, and catches the ball for first downs. I like Bech. I ain't going to lie, I done probably had it up to here with Tucker. Tucker doesn't really bring that much to the table, in my opinion. He always has a couple good games per year, and then that's it. I really don't think he brings much to the table except speed, and he ain't that fast to where we need to keep him around. I just don't feel like Tucker has been that productive, man. Maybe I'm a hater, whatever. But Trey, you're not that guy, in my opinion. And no offense to you, brother. I appreciate you. You're a Raider. You've been here. You've been working hard. They say you've been a great practice player this season, but it just hasn't translated to the ball game. You kind of just out there. But Bash, Bowers, Jeanty, very impressed, especially with Jeanty. Also, I want to give a shout out to Caleb Rogers, young fellows out there blocking it up. I didn't see anything about no PFF rating or anything, but just the eyeball test from what I saw. He was out there doing his thing, man. It wasn't a perfect game, but playing against a good defense, a good front. They didn't have Al Shire, which was, good for us. And he showed himself well, man. So Caleb looks like that's a good draft pick. We yet to see Rodgers get out there. I mean, not Rodgers, but Grant get out there. But, Jeanty, I was just thinking about this. Jeanty, Besh, and Caleb Rodgers as the first, second, and third overall pick are all out there playing now. And, Jeanty's doing really good, and the other two are showing themselves well as well. So that's a good thing. We had a decent draft. The other third-round pick hasn't really been able to get out there. They gave him just a few snaps. They kind of like baby stepping him in there. But he plays tackle, and Forsythe has been kind of holding it down. Forsythe got some decent blocks in there this past week, and just the time he's been in there. He hasn't been that much of a liability. Haven't really been able to determine if he was tipping run or pass or not, like we talked about last week. But that's why they didn't put Grant in there. They got Glaze holding that down. He wasn't ready when Miller got hurt, so they brought in Forsythe. No, Forsythe was already here. They brought in Forsythe like towards the end of camp. or at the end of camp, maybe in 1 or 2 games after 1 or 2 games have been played. And then they inserted him when Colton Miller got hurt, who, by the way, might play in these last 2 games. And you'd be like, well, why would he even do that? Come back on the team where, he's not even, we're not in contention for nothing. Well, because he's the consummate pro and he got his contract extended this past year. So he's going to be a Raider for the next 4 years. So, he wants to show this regime or whoever might come in that, hey, man, I'm a baller and I'm going to be here. I'm not here just trying to, drag out my injury and ride off into the sunset and go on vacation. I'm gonna actually come back and help my team, in this last couple ball games, even though we're just playing for pride. So I ain't mad at Miller for that. At first, I was like, why would he even come back? But props to him. So overall, man, yeah, the Raiders lost by 2, but this is a loss that you could get behind. This is a loss where you could say, okay, yeah, man, we're getting close. Houston is a playoff team. And, we played them pretty tough, man, at their place. That's the type of game that you want to see the Raiders play as a Raider fan. Be competitive, right? Be competitive, man. You're not going to win them all. But we don't want to see the 41-24, the 41-10, 31-0, 31-0. We don't want to see those ever. So now, I was talking about building going into next year. Got the youngsters playing now. Jeanty, Bash, got Rodgers playing. Thornton had already been playing. He's been banged up, though. If we get Grant going a little bit more, see what's up with him. You got the 5th-round guys on the practice squad. Let's talk about next season. All right? Now, easy, Raider Nation. I'm about to say something a little controversial, and I'm about to change my tune a little bit from what I've been saying. We might have to just keep Petey and Eugene. Hear me out. So, after the Raiders game against the Texans, they fall to 2-13, right? It got me to thinking about the 1-score games that they lost. Not only 1-score games, lost a couple games on the last play of the game. Jacksonville, the Bears come to mind. Jacksonville, we had an extra point or 2-point conversion batted down at the line on the last play of the game. Against the Bears, at the game-winning field goal blocked the last play of the game. Lost by 3 to Denver with Carlson missing a field goal in that game. And then yesterday's game that I told you, those 2 plays, they go a different way. The Raiders win that game. Now, if you recall, when I was on All Grind, we gave that final prediction. I said this was a 6-win team. Had we got the luck of the bounce, the luck of the call, right? Play here, play there. This team is sitting at 6 wins right now with the New York Giants and the Kansas City Chiefs without Mahomes and Minshew left on the schedule. We could be staring an 8-win season right in the face. 2, perhaps 3 wins away from playoffs. An improvement upon the 4-13 record from AP's Raiders. And I said, you know what? What if next year those 4 games like that, they win those? And then what if next year they get a little bit better and they split with the division. All right. String together another few wins next year. Now you're a 10-win team. It's very possible. Yeah, it sounds crazy because they only won 2 right now, but very close to have won 6 games. What I don't like are the 4 games against the Commanders, the Colts, the Chiefs, and the Eagles. Chiefs and Eagles beat them 31-0, 41-24 for the Commanders, and 41-10, if I'm not mistaken, for the Colts. That can't happen. You can't be getting blew out, bro. Those days, see, Pete, that'll get you fired. If there's a reason to fire you, it's going to be because of that. If Mark calls you in, it's like, hey, Pete, I would have kept you on. I would love to keep you on. But it's just the shellackings that you took, man, when the teams were putting up 40 on us. I believe one of those was, a nationally televised game. And we were just not competitive. It looked like non-pro. Pete could fire back like, hey, man, that's why I ended up firing this guy and this guy, trying to get it worked out. And as you can see toward the end, we start to get it a little ramped up once Ole got a little more comfortable calling the plays. And there's evidence of that. So, although I don't like the blowouts, right? But the 4 games, 1 score, 2 of them last play of the game, plus the 2 games they won, plus they got 2 remaining that are very winnable. They probably will win these games, knowing the Raiders, because we all, the Raiders always do that. They're right there for the number 1 pick. Then they win a couple meaningless games, right? Meaningless to us, but to those guys in that locker room and those coaches, it's not meaningless, bro. They're not thinking about no draft picks. They're thinking about their livelihoods and their job and putting good film on tape, whether it's for this regime or another coaching regime here in Vegas or elsewhere. You understand? So players don't care about the same shit we care about. They don't care about our fantasy teams, and they do not care about no draft picks, bro. So the Raiders could very well beat the Giants, and they could very well beat this Chief team on their 3rd-string quarterback. All right, so the bad losses was those 40-point losses, and then that Cleveland loss was pretty bad, too. The Cleveland's got a hell of a defense, too, man. But that was, that's when Chip got fired, if I'm not mistaken, right? They fired Chip after that game. So the offense wasn't really clicking like it could have been, like it should have been. And although there's no excuses, but, I'm willing to give Petey another chance, give him another old core. Give him another old core, somebody innovative, somebody's more in tune to what they're doing now in the league. Let Petey kind of have hands off and just be that motivational kind of rah-rah guy that creates the atmosphere and the culture, right? The competitiveness. He still got that. He can build the program. He's a program builder. He can still do that, but he needs a good old core. He needs a good special teams person that's going to be able to coach those 2 units up to be the best that they possibly can be with the talent that they have, the talent that they're going to have, right? Because we know for sure 3 good picks, right? The picks that Svitek and Petey made last year, all 3 of them are playing right now. Jeanty played from day 1. So we know the precedent. Our first pick is going to start, and hopefully this time the second pick starts right away too. Best kind of was a little bit behind because they had that 2nd round issue with the guaranteed money and all that, and him signing late, even though he was coming to practice. I don't think he was getting, the reps. So he's starting to come on a little bit later in the season and show why we drafted him. And he's been shown. He catches it with his hands, makes contested catches, and looks like he's starting to, Geno is getting comfortable with him. Eugene's getting comfortable with him. So we know our first 3 picks played, even our first 4 pick played. Thornton started, even though Thornton ain't really balled this year, but he started in the NFL, our first 4 picks. So if they can do that again, right, get 4 more picks that can start, that, it's an argument to where we would want to put them all. Definitely one of them on the O-line somewhere, I would say. I would say perhaps a D tackle, a linebacker, and a top flight receiver added to this team. So a really good receiver. So maybe the first pick overall, receiver. Or I mean the first pick for the Raiders. Then a offensive lineman, one of the better ones in the draft. Interior O-line, preferably. So center or guard. We're gonna need a top flight 3-down linebacker. We got to find somebody that can cover and that's tough to run. We need a dynamic dude playing off-ball linebacker. And it also wouldn't hurt to find a big stanky in there at the D tackle, man, at the one technique, right? We got to get a little more stout in there. Even if we could find somebody in free agency in there that can help us with some stoutness. I know we got the youngsters, Pegues and Hemingway, but I'm saying a little bit beefier than that. All right? So, top flight receiver, one of the better linemen in the draft, one of the better linebackers off ball in the draft with those first 3 picks, right? With those 3 additions, plus the players that we have continuing to develop, free agent here, free agent there, come on back with Eugene, man, and Petey. Because here's the thing. That next year, we might be able to draft a quarterback, right? It might be middle of the road or whatever draft-wise, but maybe you're able to get your guy, right? You don't have to – it doesn't have to be first overall because, like Jackson Dart, right? He started. He went – what did he go, like 20th, something, 17th, something like that? Hell, Aaron Rodgers went like 24th, right? So everybody, all the sweet QBs, you do not have to get picked first overall. So, man, next year there'll be quarterbacks. Maybe we move up, trade up, give up a pick or something for the next year to move up to get our guy in the 27 draft. And now we got the quarterback under the rookie deal, and the roster is now fortified and built up. Take that one last draft with the quarterback, put in the missing pieces, and really make a run at this thing, man, by 2027. Because the alternative, if we run Pete and we run Geno, we got to start the thing all over, man. We got no continuity of message, right? Mark Davis is left paying another coach, right? He's still paying Josh McDaniel. He's probably still paying AP. And he will be paying Petey plus the new coach. So, I usually say money be damned, but you don't want to get stretched too thin, man. You got to be finished paying somebody. Finish paying McDaniel. You might even still be paying Gruden for all we know. He's going to have to finish paying these coaches, man, at some time. So keeping Petey around for the next 2 years will allow him to do that. Petey, you got to get better, though. Your teams have got to get better. We want to have all 16 games, all 17 games, pardon me, competitive, man. I know you ain't going to win them all, but all these 40 points and these, 31 zeros, man, none of those. Knock all of those out of there next year. Come back and do the things I said. Keep fortifying the roster. And now, maybe not next season, but that following season, man, you'll really be seriously ready to talk about competing in the AFC. The other teams that are good now, the Denvers, the Steelers are good right now. Jacksonville's good right now. All of those guys will be a little bit older, right? And our team would just be ramping up and peaking at that time with some of our younger players. Max would be, a little long in the tooth by then. But Maxie, we could live with Max being a player that's a little bit older because we know we still gonna get 1,000% out of it, and we know that that's still gonna be high level. It might not be the level that he's playing at now, but we know it's still gonna be at a high level. And he may not stay in the game for all the plays, 70, 80 plays like he does now, but he'll still be in there at a high level when he's in there, and then go ahead and lead this team to some type of meaningful playoff action, perhaps championship, perhaps get back to where they were 23 years ago. Let some youngsters that root for this team finally see a reason to root for them and not being the laughing stock of the National Football League, in back-to-back years. In 23, we got a buzz when AP took over because we start playing a little bit thirstier and we strung together a few wins. And then we went right back sort of to the laughing stock the last 2 years. So, yeah, I'm thinking that we're going to stick with Geno and Petey, draft well, keep the continuity of message, and run this thing back in 27. What you guys think about that? I'm going to go ahead. At first, I was going to recap and preview, but since I went all into that about Petey, I'm going to go ahead and make another video about previewing the game against the New York Giants this coming Sunday at Allegiant Stadium. So, just win, baby.
3rd down and 6. Geno to the end zone, and it is caught by Bowers for a touchdown. Charles Davis all over it. And Brock Bowers has his 7th touchdown of the year.
That Will Anderson let him get the free release off the line of scrimmage. I thought he might try and chip him and throw him off his timing. But when he got the free release, he runs stutter go. And Geno Smith finds right there, stutter. Now watch the ball. It's a beautifully thrown football.